Welcome in, everybody, to the final episode of 2025 for the Fifth Quarter Podcast. And we're going out with a bang, our official award show. I'm so excited to get into these, even though I think we may overlap on a lot of things. There are a couple awards that are somewhat in the air, so we'll have to see if we, have a similar mindset or we differ there. But we are freshly out of this Falcon-Ram Monday night game, which was a crazy one. Falcons took a 21-0 lead. The Rams bring it all the way back to tie it up. It was crazy, crazy stuff. And actually, I kind of want to start there because before we get into pregame talk, this has to do with both of our teams. Now, with the Falcons winning tonight, the Raiders have secured a top 2 pick in the NFL draft. It's the highest pick that I've ever been able to see the Raiders pick at in my lifetime of watching. I think before that, I want to say our highest was number 4, where we took, obviously, Khalil Mack, which was an amazing pick. So I'm walking out of this draft with a quarterback, thankful for Jaden's Atlanta Falcons. But the reason why I wanted to start off with that, your Falcons obviously don't have their first-round pick in this upcoming draft, and you've been an advocate of not really caring about this pick anymore, seeing how your team has pretty much killed the draft of last year. So I know we talked about this previously towards the beginning of the year, but obviously as both of our teams went down, we didn't give them crazy love on the show. But I want to hear your optimism with the Falcons going forward, obviously not having this first round pick, but it seems that you have a lot of talent all around. And the Falcons really are the most confusing team in the league because they'll go out there and they'll beat the Rams and the Bills, but then they'll get blown out by the Panthers. And I mean, there's some other pretty embarrassing losses that I'm probably not coming to mind. But what are your overall thoughts with your team going forward, I guess, is my whole point here.
Yeah, so first I want to start with I think coaching has to change. I think I think Zach Robinson has, stepped it up as offensive coordinator in the back half of this year. I think Raheem Morris is still not a good coach. His decision making is, pretty bad. Like even in this game, like when we decided to play super conservative, run it on third and medium, and that's when we ended up settling for that field goal that got blocked into a touchdown. I think he just played that too conservative. Even times when, like, at the end of this game, when we decided to keep Algier in the game and, run it out and settle for a 51-yard field goal, which thankfully Zane Gonzalez nailed. But, I don't think Raheem Morris is it. And I'm gonna, if I gotta be honest, I think it all is, our future is gonna rely on the back of, how our quarterback develops, how Penix develops. He's got his injury he's dealing with, the partial ACL tear. I really don't know the timeline on that. These NFL off seasons are long. I mean, he could, be back for the start of next season or, at some point early in next season. I really don't know. I don't think it's a full ACL tear, so it shouldn't be the same timeline as that. But I think our future really just relies on him, if I got to be honest. I mean, we see now. I sent that, that tweet to you of how well our team has been playing this year. Let me see. Let me go back and look at that. Like we have like the best rookie defensive back since Deion Sanders probably. Bijan Robinson has a chance to fucking break the all-time scrimmage yards record next week. James Pierce Jr. is a defensive rookie of the year contender. We've got players playing great, and we were out of the playoffs by Thanksgiving. And a lot of that could come down to, the special teams. We've lost a lot of games on our kicking this year. I think about 3 of them we've lost, just all on kicking, which, I mean, we win one of those games, we could be playing for the playoff spot next week, but I think at the end of the day, it'll come down to if Penix can develop to be, consistently, good quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good, because I mean, You see that happen with so many teams, and it's one of the worst positions to be at in football. I mean, you see that with like the Jets had that for a solid 3-year window a few years ago now when they had that stifling defense. They had some young stars with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and they just needed to figure out that quarterback position. And obviously, it spiraled out since then. You know, you have a lot of teams that come and go with that same type of mentality and team building aspect. But as some really good points, I saw someone say this: if Kirk Cousins was the Week 1 starter, are you guys in the playoffs?
Hell no. I'm sorry.
You don't
no.
believe that?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. No, it's fair.
I think he's put together some solid winning performances. I guess done enough to make us win, but he hasn't done. I wouldn't say he's done anything like over top. Like he hasn't won us these games.
Right.
Like himself, he didn't put together a game winning. I guess you could say this was a game winning drive, but I don't know. He's done enough. He hasn't played horrible. Yeah. Which, I mean, even this game he had 3 turnover worthy plays. I mean, no, I don't think we do.
That's fair.
I mean, if it comes down to one game, maybe he could have won us, one more game to get us in the play. I don't think if he was the Week 1 starter, it would have been too much different than Penix, if not worse.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I'm looking right now, some of the losses that I was thinking of. I remember you guys had that, brutal loss to the Jets. You had a blowout loss versus the Dolphins. And those are games that you just would like to have back. Obviously, the 30-0 against the Panthers, as I mentioned. It's like, that's the most confusing part about your guys' season. 30-0 against the Panthers, 34-10 against the Dolphins, and you lose to the Jets, but then you beat the Rams and the Bills. And this is why sports are great, because nothing ever makes sense. And I think that's the beauty of it, and that's something that a lot of fans don't realize. And obviously, it's easy to just say that, oh, how can you do this? How can you do that? Everybody's not going to play their best every single game. These guys are not going to be 99 overalls. They're not going to be their Madden ratings every single game. You're going to have ups and downs. Bijan one game is going to look like a 99. The other game, he might be an 85. You're going to have A.J. Terrell look like the best corner one game, and the next game he gives up 105 yards and a touchdown. It's just how sports work. You're going to have ups and downs. But it's crazy to say that with one game going in your guys' favor. Like you said, you'd be fighting for a playoff spot next week. Unfortunate stuff, especially with not having the first round pick. But I think with the draft that you guys walked out with last year, with those 3 defensive players, I think you're sitting pretty. I think obviously, like you said, it just comes down to the Penix thing. And I kind of wanted to get into my Raiders. I'm going to get into my Raiders after pregame talk. We had a good amount of football talk there before we get into it, but let's hear what we got for pregame talk for the last episode of 2025.
All right, I had I know you're a stat guy, so you might like this. Okay. Stats, accolades guy, but do you think the NFL should adopt a third team for All-Pro, similar to how the NBA has done for All-NBA?
That's a good one, man. Immediate reaction, I think no. I think 2 teams is fine. I think see, this is tough because the more that I think about it, maybe I do agree, because I'll have situations where it's like, how is that guy not an All-Pro at all? Or how is that guy end up on second team and not first team? And obviously it's because someone had a better season than him. But I think you look at like last year, Derrick Henry, where he goes for, 1,900 yards, where he have 16 touchdowns, nearly a 2,000-yard season. But obviously Saquon was the one who got that done, and he ends up on a second team instead of a first team. And I even saw a tweet talking, it listed 6 running backs, and it was only 2 of these guys are going to make All-Pros.
Yeah, you could look at it right now. CMC,
Right.
Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. I mean, Derrick Henry, Gibbs, and A-Chain.
Yeah.
It's like 7
It's
guys
right.
worthy of
And
All-Pro.
and I think maybe where I differ, or not where I differ, but maybe just expand the teams, because you have 6 receivers, 3 on a first team, 3 on a second team. And obviously it's just standard, 11 personnel. It's 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers on a team, which I get. But maybe a solution could be adding, 2 running backs
But then
even
that
on.
devalues the first and second. Why not just make another team?
Yeah, that's a good point. But then I think you would have a lot of players, but then again, it wouldn't be looked at as valuable. Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, you'd probably have a receiver on third team where it's like, yeah, he was good, but is he really an all-pro? But then again, he's on third team. Like, it's nothing that crazy. I think, you know what, maybe a third team, because
You don't
I'm
think so?
also
You don't think the
trying.
5th and 6th best receiver, like stat-wise, in the league? I mean, maybe if it's a down year, I guess you could look at it like that. But, I mean,
Yeah.
we could look at it like it this year. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I'll pull it up real quick.
I was more so, and I keep on trying to bring it back to basketball, because when you think of an all NBA team, it's just flat out the 15 best players in the NBA that year, or like, so-called, obviously by the voters, there might be a player or two, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. You're getting at bare minimum, I would say, 11 to 13 for sure of the best 15 players that year. Like I said, you might have 1 to 2 players you disagree with, but for the most part, it's pretty spot on. And I think in my head, I'm thinking like of a third team, like, oh, is he really saying that, that's the ninth bet, like the ninth best receiver should make an all-pro team? Like that feels like we're going too far
Oh, wait,
down.
it is 3. I don't know why I thought it was 2 per team.
Yeah, that's why
You're right,
that's
it
why
is
in my
3.
head I'm like, we might be going too far into the bag, being like the ninth best receiver in the league is an all-pro. But then again,
Fuck, then we might get Zay Flowers on an All-Pro team.
yeah, it's like, also it wouldn't be looked at the same, right? I mean, you would still be like, yeah, he's an all-pro receiver, but at the same time, he's an all-pro third team receiver. Like, he's not a first or second guy. So I think I think it's fair. I think the 2 teams are good. I think my only issue that I would have with it is the running back shortage of there only being 2. But again, it just makes sense. It's just going off the standard personnel that you see with 11, with 1 tight end, 1 running back, and 3 receivers. Like, that's what you're going to get on the field, a majority of the time. So it makes sense, but I think that would be my only issue. So I don't think I would like to have a whole nother team just to really focus on the running back, when again, I would only be adding 1 running back, because that would be like my whole mindset for it, because every other position pretty much gets taken care of. You get, a bunch more DBs, you get a bunch more linebackers, edge rushers, you get a bunch more receivers, you get another quarterback. Like, I think the only thing that I would say is probably add another running back position to an all-pro team. I think that would be my solution, instead of adding a third team. Would be my take personally, because I think going 3 deep is just too much. It's just too much. Do you think they should add a third team, or are you on the second team is cool side?
I was looking at it as like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not add the 13? But I mean, with the 3 receivers thing, I could see how that gets a little weird.
Right.
Maybe there's a workaround for that. Maybe only like 2 receivers on the third team. I'm not sure, but yeah, I was I was just thinking like, why not?
Yeah.
Give players
And
more chance to get paid, make an All-Pro team, got a better chance of getting paid more money.
and I guess what you also could do is, if you were to add a third team, no, because that makes it the exact same. Never mind. Because in my head, I'm like, if you were to add a third team, maybe just shorten the teams, like maybe take off 1 receiver, but then you still end up with 6 total receivers. because you'd have 2 on each team instead of 3. So that wouldn't even work. So yeah, I think 2 is fine. I think you're gonna have years where players get snubbed, and it's unfortunate, obviously. But I think as long as you understand football, you can recognize who are great players and all time type talents that even if they don't end up with a million All-Pro first teams, they're still gonna be regarded. I mean, Derrick Henry has, I think, 1 All-Pro first team, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
I think
impossible.
I think he does. I think I remember looking at this. It sounds crazy, but I think he only has
yes,
1.
It is.
Yeah, and it's his 2K year. And you hear that and you're like, no way, but like, yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles. And obviously Derrick Henry, I would think is not going to get one this year. There's been a ton of great running backs, and unfortunately his really great games came late now in the season, so I don't know if he can really, take over that All-Pro first team spot. But I mean, this guy possibly will end his career with only 1. And I think despite that, I still look at him as he's on pace to be top 5 right now. So yeah, I don't really look at it no different. So I think I would keep the 2 teams in my opinion. But that was a great pregame talk as always. Not a ton to talk about, or not a ton to, I guess, to get into that I personally want to get into before we get into these awards. What I do want to start with before I get into this week 18 games, or these week 18 games, has to do with what I opened the show up with. And I want to start talking about my Raiders, because I haven't talked about them for a while, rightfully so. I despise this team so much, but they've got me back in. And I guess it's by their own doing, but not really. As I mentioned, the Raiders are locked into a top 2 pick after this Falcons win. Now, I know you're probably thinking, how does that make any sense? It has to do with the Jets beating the Falcons, or the Jets, I think, just playing the Falcons, and the Falcons getting that extra win to boost their win totals. So the Jets' strength of schedule goes up. So now they're ahead of the Raiders in strength of schedule. So now the Raiders are like secure to be above them, even if they have the same record. I believe that's how it goes. It's a little bit confusing, but I want to say that's correct. So they're locked into a top 2 pick. The Raiders will 100% be walking out of this draft with either Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. It's going to be the first time in my fandom receiving a first-round quarterback, rooting for a first-round quarterback, and having real hype around a player selected that high. Obviously, I had Derek Carr in my beginning years, but he was a second-round pick, not really looked at to be this crazy player. Obviously, he was looking like he was going to be there, in MVP conversations in his 3rd year, but after the injury, just simply was never the same. But I'm buying back in, man. I hate myself that I'm doing this, but it's a different type of buy-in. And there's so many layers to this that worries me. Obviously, there's the Max Crosby news, which I don't think he's going anywhere. I think, these two sides just had different opinions. And obviously, Max is a player that wants to go out there and perform every single week. I mean, this is a guy that was on pace to be an all-pro first team edge rusher. I mean, right now, if he would have played these last 2 games, I think he would have for sure hit it. But he was looking like he was on pace to be 3rd all-time in tackles for loss in a season while having double-digit sacks. So this guy was on pace for his best season of his career. And obviously he gets that ripped from him, not being able to play the final 2 games. And it was obviously the Raiders are going to mark it as injury. Obviously he does need surgery, but Max is the type of guy that will play through any type of injury. He's going to play 100% of the snaps. That's why I personally believe he's the 3rd best defensive player in football because of his effort like that. But the Raiders were trying to tank. They want this quarterback. They want this pick, and they got it. And they got me back in, man. It's going to be exciting. I have to buy into it. If I had a favorite, I do like Dante Moore more. No pun intended there. I do like him more than Fernando Mendoza. but they're two really good prospects, and it's tough to choose between because I was pretty low on Mendoza going into the year while his season was going on. But at the end of the day, if the Raiders pick him, I got to buy into him, man. I can't sit here and act like I got to hate this guy or I don't want him to succeed. I have to. I'm forced to now, which I think he still is going to be a great player. I think the difference between them for me is I think Dante Moore has a higher ceiling and Fernando Mendoza has a higher floor. And I think my whole thing is always I want to go for the higher ceiling. That's how you win Super Bowls. You have to get a quarterback with a high ceiling. You can take a quarterback that you believe is going to be safe with the ball, going to be smart, going to make the right play. But I want a gutsy guy that's going to go out there and make the game-winning play. You know what I mean? And be a superstar at that helm. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I hope they don't mess it up. Right? You got the two. Now, maybe they both end up being studs and it's impossible to mess up, but I'm nervous, man. I hope we get number one, though, so that we have our choosing. I don't want to get, number two, and then it's like, oh, number one goes Fernando, and then it's Dante, and then Fernando's a superstar, and Dante doesn't really pan out, which could happen because the Raiders are such a dysfunctional franchise that no matter who we pick, it could not work. That's very, very likely, but I gotta try to have a little bit of hope. And I think there is a real possibility that if we were to hit on this quarterback, we have some really great young prospects where I'm not going to buy into next year. I think we're still going to be a bad team next year. Now, I don't think we're going to be, 2 wins bad. I think if we're able to bring in a new head coach, a new system, have another good draft, I think we could be a 5-ish, maybe 6-ish win team, which would be a big improvement as long as the young players are showing some signs. But yeah. All I can say is I'm bought back into the Raiders. They got me. They finally got a number 1 overall pick or a top 2 pick, even though it's in a year where the quarterback prospects aren't amazing. I would have liked this 2 years ago probably when there was Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May. I would have loved to have a top 2 or top 3 pick then, but, I can only wish. But anyway, enough Raider talk. Talked about that terrible franchise for too long. Before we get into our awards, we got to talk about Week 18 that's about to come up because there is going to be a lot of games with some big implications going on. We start out with Saturday night, or Saturday day, I should say, where it is going to be the Panthers versus the Bucks and the 49ers versus the Seahawks. The 49ers versus Seahawks game, the winner gets the number 1 seed in the NFC, and the loser can potentially drop all the way down to the 6th seed. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff going on. I think it's going to be a great game. If I had to pick my winners of these games that I'm going to talk about, I think I would go Seahawks here. The other game, as I mentioned, is Panthers versus Bucks, which I believe it changes now. It was the winner of this game wins the division, but I believe I saw something where even if the Bucks win, if the Falcons win next week or it's the Saints win next week, I think the Panthers get it regardless. It's something weird like that. I wish I had it pulled up, or I wish I would have saved the tweet that I saw. But this is not a scenario where the winner takes all. Now, if the Panthers win, they take all. But if the Bucks win, not necessarily. There are still some other scenarios where the Bucks can win, but the Panthers still win the division. It's some odd stuff, but you get the gist. So that's going to be a 2 great games on Saturday, playing for the division in both of those games. You have in the AFC with the Broncos, Patriots, and Jaguars racing for that number 1 seed. And then on Sunday night, to wrap us up, you have Ravens versus Steelers, where the winner of that wins their division and gets the number 4 seed in the AFC. Now, Lamar's status is still up for that game. I believe John Harbaugh's exact quote was, "It's to be determined." So we'll have to see if Lamar is ready to go against the Steelers. And I mean, just to talk about the Steelers for a second, what was that performance? I mean, these guys would rather lose a game than give Myles Garrett the sack record. I mean, it's stuff like that I just simply hate seeing from Rodgers. a guy that is one of my favorite players ever of all time, and his biggest critique is that he doesn't like to take sacks, or he doesn't like to throw the ball away, and he wants to protect his passer rating and things like that, and he doesn't want to take these risks, and he doesn't. It was some ugly stuff from the Steelers. They had a lot of opportunities to win that game, and Rodgers was just playing it safe, getting the ball out quick, not taking his check downs, not really reading the field. Like it was some odd stuff from the Steelers. I saw a lot of Steelers fans that were livid about that performance from their team, but that's what you get when Mike Tomlin is your head coach. You get 9 wins every year, and you're going to accept it. You're going to accept it because you won Super Bowls with an all-time defense 20 years ago. So you're gonna accept what you get. But that's gonna be a great game. So many that are gonna be happening up on this next weekend, and I'm super pumped. And speaking of next weekend, man, I'm so excited to get off of this schedule that we are. We talked about it in the past, but we record these on Monday nights. We are finally done. This is our last week of recording on Monday nights. Going forward, it's going to be on the weekend. It's going to be Sunday nights for the rest of the season, and then during the off season, it's either a Saturday or Sunday night that we record on. And also going forward, not going to be Wednesday release dates, going to be Tuesday release dates, going to move it back a day on both recording and uploads, or I guess forward a day, technically. Forward a day on uploading, back a day on recording, I guess is how it should be. But anyway, some great football for week 18, and I'm stoked to watch it and finally get into these playoffs, because I think these playoffs are about to be unreal. I mean, absolute cinema I think we're about to witness in these playoffs. So that's really everything that I wanted to talk about from this past Sunday, and just some random NFL news that I wanted to ramble about. So without further ado, our official award show. I mean, let's just hop straight into it. We have MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Protector of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, and our personal award, Game of the Year. It's a new award that that's not in the NFL, but an award that I wanted to bring to the show because we have had so many amazing games. I mean, it's really impossible to choose a wrong one. I wish I could just highlight every single crazy game this year, but we each got one winner for that category. But obviously, we will start out with the MVP. And I think this is a award where we may differ, and I feel like we do. So who do you have as your most valuable player for 2025?
My MVP is going to be Bo Nix.
All right.
All right.
Shut the pod off. No, who?
Drake May.
Yeah, I get it. I felt like you were gonna go there. You go Drake over Stafford, and what is your big reasoning behind you going Drake?
I think he's been more, if not as consistent as Stafford, and Stafford just put up this stinker, which I don't think May's had as bad of a game as that all year. And I think he's also did all this and, bringing his team. I'd say they had definitely an easier schedule, but he's had way less health than Stafford for sure. Yeah. Easily. Like, not even a question.
Yep.
And, that's why he's my MVP.
I get you. I think
that's why Drake May is my MVP.
I agree with you on a lot of points. I think there are certain points that I would argue back with. I think, unfortunately, I do have to look at the strength of schedule as a huge thing. It sucks because I don't like to do it, but it is very glaring. I mean,
Drake May beat the Falcons and the Rams didn't beat the Falcons. So
yeah, that's a good point.
End the conversation there. All right, Offensive Player of the
Year. But it's just, Drake May this season has the same amount of wins of teams over 500 as Jackson Dart, which I believe is 2. And it's a very, very glaring thing when you're looking at an award of most valuable player. And I get it. The Patriots are not this superstar studded team that is amazing. Like they're playing similar. I wouldn't say similar competition, but maybe going into the year, people believed a similar competition, and they're blowing these teams out the water. And I agree. Drake May has 1,000% been more consistent than Matthew Stafford this year. I mean, he's a walking 70% completion percentage, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns a game. Like that's just what that's what he's going to put up every single game. Now he's not going to put up much more than that. I mean, even though this past Sunday, obviously, he puts up his 5 touchdown game against the Jets. But I think that is something that was tough for me. I didn't know how I wanted to gauge these final 2 games of the year. I didn't know how heavily I wanted to look at it because, right, you have a position where like the offensive player of the year race, right? I think it's without a doubt just a 2-man race, right? It's Jackson Smith-Njigba or Puka Nacua. Now, Smith-Njigba had a solid game this past week. I think he had like 9 catches for 76 yards or something, like a solid game, nothing too crazy. Obviously, Puka, I think, had like 5 for 54 and a touchdown this past Monday night tonight. But it's like, let's say JSN goes out next week and has 3 for 24. Let's say he has a bad game. The Niners keen in on him, shut him down. And Puka replicates what he did against the Seahawks a few weeks ago. He goes 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. Like, is it just like that? Like Puka's just the MV or the offensive player of the year? Like it was tough for me because that's like the same thing with Stafford. Like obviously Drake May just had his incredible performance. Now again, it was against the Jets. And Stafford has, his worst game of the year. Again, against, I think, one of the most underrated defenses in the league, if not the most underrated defense in the league against the Falcons. It's like if Stafford goes out next week and throws for 5 touchdowns and Drake May throws for 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, like, is it flipped just like that? Like, it was so hard for me to really gauge that. And I think, again, it just comes down, I think Stafford has played a lot more competition this year. And he has showed up in a lot of big games. He showed up against the Rams a few weeks ago. He showed up against the Lions a few weeks ago. I mean, you can go through the game log against a lot of these teams, against the Jaguars where he puts up 5 touchdowns. It's just like he shows up against competition. And I get it. He 100,000% has the most help or has more help than Drake May. Not disputing that at all. He has one of the most help out of any quarterback in the league. I mean, Sean McVay might be the greatest offensive mind we've ever seen, and Puka Nacua and Devontae might, without a doubt, be the best receiving duo in the league. He also has a very complimentary offensive line, a great running back duo. Like, he has it all. But I think Stafford was just the better quarterback. I think obviously this game throws it throws a wrench in it. It's tough to look at the 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Obviously, if you're not looking at that, you're seeing a quarterback with an all-time touchdown to interception ratio. And it really is just the strength of schedule. I mean, it just boils down to that. I can make every single point that I want, but when you play the Jets twice, when you play a lot of the teams that Drake May has, it's hard to ignore. It really is. And I'm sorry, I hate it because I really, really love Drake May.
I want to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I doubt the voters look into this. Mm-hmm. But when do you think is the last time somebody's won MVP when they weren't the best player on their offense? Would you say Stafford's not the best player on his offense? Puka is? Would you agree with that?
I think that's a good question. I think I think Puka slightly edges him out.
Slightly?
I think so. I think it's not like, and I say slightly where it's like it's not like definitive. Like, I would have to think about that for a second because Stafford is I've been saying this whole year. I think Stafford is the second most gifted passer that we've ever seen, and especially in an offense with Sean McVay, it is really on display. And obviously, Puka is, I mean, a truly an all-time talent at receiver, maybe one of the best hands that we've ever seen. And I think it's slightly. I don't think it's like 100%. I think if you were to take a vote, I think it would probably be like 70-30, 65-35 type of thing. But I would say, yeah, Puka is the best. So
right.
that's a good point.
Well, going back though
against it, but so you're saying, is he going to be the first? Not first, but
I think he'd be.
I think
he'd be 3. I think he'd be one of 3 since 2000.
Who? Let me try to see if I can think of the other. Matt Ryan. And 2000s or 2010s?
2000s.
That's gonna be a little bit tougher. Would you say? I mean,
I'd argue Kurt Warner.
Okay, I was gonna say one of the running backs, but I was like, did Kurt win in?
He won in 2001. I'd argue Marshall Faulk was better.
That's
but
I would say so as well.
I don't know. That's just an interesting thing to look at. Obviously, I don't know if voters look at that. I doubt they do. But yeah.
And I think the only other one pushback that I would have, I think I lean Drake May, or I would have, if it wasn't for one performance. You obviously mentioned how Drake May hasn't had a performance this bad. I think that Bills game from 3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago now, I think that's slightly on par with this. Now, obviously, he didn't throw 3 interceptions, but he was essentially a non-factor in the whole second half of that game. I mean, after they went up, I think 21-0, and everyone was getting their shit off talking about, the Patriots and everything. And I think Drake May completed like 4 or 5 passes in that second half, threw an interception, and I think the Patriots only scored, man, I can't remember the exact, I think they scored on a Travion Henderson long touchdown, but I mean, their offense just was stagnant after that. And for an MVP type player, I'd like to see him show up in that type of instance. But I would put that performance on par with a Stafford.
You think it's on par with this one?
Because again,
I think Drake May played well in the first half. I think Stafford played like shit almost all game.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair point. I also think that Patriots offense, like I remember specifically watching that entire first half. I think that Patriots offense was like as a whole just really moving. I mean, Travion was moving the ball. They were running the ball well. I think Drake May had 2 scramble rushing touchdowns in the red zone. Like, I don't think he was doing anything crazy. And then I think in the second half, when they adjusted, it was very notable that Drake May needed to show up in this position. And it was almost in like a playoff atmosphere type of thing where it's like, all right, next drive, we need you. All right, they cut it down to 14. We got to get points here. All right, we punt the ball again. They just scored. All right, we got to get points here. A 3 and out. And it's like that was not a great performance. Again, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet as him throwing 4 interceptions or anything crazy. But I think that second half meltdown is on par, especially in as big of a game as it was, which as you see, it knocked, not knock them out, but the Patriots could have been clearing away the number 1 seed in the AFC, and now they no longer are. But anyway, we spent a lot of time on MVP. I went Matthew Stafford, he went Drake May, having a little bit of back and forth. I think after this game, I do think the voters will give it to Drake May, but I would still lean Matt. Offensive Player of the Year, one that I think we actually might be the same on. As I go, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Was that the same with you?
I went Bijan. I'm joking. I went JSN too.
And we talked about it. Man, there were so many running backs that could have definitely been in this award. I mean,
why
as
not?
You mentioned.
Why not? If Bijan goes out next week and breaks the all-time scrimmage record, what's the argument for him not being it? Why does it have to be a playoff thing? Why does that have to be a thing, though?
I think it's just how it is a lot of times. I mean, it sucks, but I can agree with it to
Why,
a point.
though? I get MVP
I think,
being that, but just offensive and defensive player of the year. It's just the best offensive and defensive player. You don't have to be on a playoff team to do that. I think doing that, putting up numbers like that on a team that's not a playoff team could be more impressive because it's like, you know, your team isn't as good. There's less players for the opposing team to keen in on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
don't see why it has to be offensive. I mean, a playoff award, but
so if the Falcons are 7-9 right now.
Yeah.
If the Falcons were 9-7, do you think would Bijan get your vote? I mean, I think he would just because you're a Falcons fan, but would that sway you a lot?
I mean, what's swaying me is the odds. I'm not gonna pick him because fucking odds are crazy. But I mean, if
I'm
that's
saying,
what
like,
made
let's
his
say,
odds better.
Yeah, let's just say right now, let's say the Jets game that it doesn't go that way. You guys end up kicking a game-winning field goal. You win that one, and I don't know, another close game that you guys squeaked out. You guys are 2 games better, so you guys are pretty much like for sure going to win your division, and then you're going into next week.
Yeah, I would.
You would pick him.
I would, but that's also factored into the playoff thing. For my pick, I'm factoring in the playoff stuff. Like,
no, I get you.
If we weren't, I would be going with Bijan.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a fair point. I think it's so tough, man. There's a lot of good running backs having great seasons this year, and I think Jackson. I mean, he's putting up some all-time numbers in like a weird offense that like just doesn't throw the ball ever. Like it's odd. Like I mean, I have in my notes here, Darnold has 9 games this season with 27 pass attempts or less. Like I think it's the highest receiving yards on like a bottom 5 passing efficient offense like ever. Like it's a weird all-time season. Like we just never seen something like this from a receiver. And I was a guy that was slightly leaning towards Puka. But obviously he has had, or this past game, which could have potentially boosted him over it. But even then, like, even if Puka had like 120 yards, like, I may have still went like JSN. Like, it's just a very peculiar, amazing all-time season. Like, it's odd. We've never seen anything like this. But I think rightfully so, JSN would get it. Like I mentioned, even if the Falcons were like 9-7, there's a chance I still give it to JSN. But I mean, it's not no knock on Bijan. It's just it's a different season. And again, the year's not over. JSN could go out here next game and he can go for 11 for 140 and a touchdown. It's like a clear thing. And again, Bijan could have now. Let's be honest, Bijan is definitely not going to break the record, but because he needs 255 yards, 255 total yards, that's just not going to happen. But he could get close.
He gets 30 touches. You can tell me that can't happen. He hasn't had that amount of touches all season.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't think so. But you know, who knows? Who knows? Which just goes to show how nuts Chris Johnson was. But yeah, we both end up with the same offensive player of the year in JSN. I mean, an absolute superstar, a breakout that I think a lot of people believe that he could be a great player, but I definitely did not see this. I mean, a legitimate top 3 receiver in the NFL. Unreal stuff by JSN. And again, an award, I think we're going to share the defensive player of the year, Mr. 22, Mr. Sack Record, Myles Garrett. I don't even think we really need much discussion. We probably share that one as well.
I actually went Rashawn Gary.
You know, we should have did that. I think for our April Fool's episode, once we're around there, I think we should just say a whole bunch of bullshit and just see how it goes.
I wasn't joking about that.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Obviously, we both have Myles Garrett as our winner, which, I mean, does he break the record? Does he get it? Like he still hasn't. He's gotten only half a sack in his past 2. As I mentioned, The Steelers game, I mean, they were doing everything in
By
their
the way,
power.
that was a full sack.
Oh, you're talking
when
about
they give him that half a sack. I mean, he would tie the record. He wouldn't break it, but still.
Yeah. It's some unreal stuff that Garrett is doing. I hope he does. It was looking like he was going to shatter it. Like it was looking like he was going to get like 25 and it was going to be an unbreakable record. But, you know, he might only end up breaking it by half a sack. Maybe he goes out there and gets 2 and gets it by 1.5 sacks. But, yeah, unreal stuff that Myles Garrett is doing. He's going to be, I think he already is second in tackles for loss in a season. I want to say J.J. Watt has the record at like 38, I think, or 39. I think he's already second. But, yeah, crazy stuff. On top of that, 3 forced fumbles. Again, the Browns are a bad team. They're not going to make the playoffs, but I don't care. You're doing the stuff that Garrett is doing.
Yeah, J.J. Watt had 39.
Yeah.
In 16 games.
Is Garrett already 2?
Yeah, he's 2 at 32.
And J.J. Watt is 3, isn't he?
JJ's again at 3? Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 3 and 4. JJ had the top 3 before Myles Garrett.
And isn't this year Crosby at what, like 5
Crosby's
or 6?
At 14, I think.
No, not
I'm joking. Yeah, he's at 5.
Yeah. But he is actually up there again for like his like 2 or 3 years ago when he had like mid-20s. I think he is around like that 14 range. I think he has 2 in like the top 20 or top 15.
Sean Gary better.
Sorry, slight glaze to my boy, best run defender in the league. By the way, real argument that Jaden was making, Rashawn Gary was better. Just want to put that out there. Now, this was years ago, so I'll cut him some slack, but
Gary's the next coming to Khalil Mack.
Never been close. Anyway, we'll move on to our next award, which we actually might differ at this one. We've had 2 that we were consensus on. Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's been some discourse around this award that I don't really agree with that we'll get into, but my winner, or actually we'll start out with your winner. I gave my winner last 2. Who do you have for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
My winner is Woody Marks. No, I'm joking. Ted McMillan.
Teteroa McMillan, the betting favorite right now, which I was very close to going with. I differed, and I went Jackson Dart. I see that, and this is the point that I wanted to make. Tyler Shuck is almost the same odds as Teteroa McMillan to win Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. Now, I disagree with that. Obviously, Tyler Shuck, when he has been on the field, when he finally started, starting games for the Saints, he has looked like the best rookie quarterback of anybody. He's looked better than Dart. He's looked better than Ward. He's definitely more consistent than these guys. He's looked like a real NFL quarterback, which a lot of people did not think he could be, myself included. But he's looked really good. He has looked damn good for a rookie. But I think when you go out there and you have back-to-back, good games, great games against the Jets and the Titans, I just can't be like, all right, yeah, he's Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's been amazing. It's like he has been, but I can't just look at these 2 games that you obviously had amazing performances, 300+ yards, multiple touchdowns in both of them, and it's like I just can't be like, oh, yep, you're my Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Jackson Dart has had some really high highs and some really low lows from what you would expect from a rookie quarterback. But I can't just ignore, 22 total touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Now, this guy does miss too much time where he just decides to run into people for a living. I don't know why he decides to do that instead of just sliding. He's almost got 500 yards on the ground, over 2,000 yards passing, 63 completion percentage. It's nothing eye-popping. It's definitely not eye candy. You don't want to see this from a rookie quarterback that might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. You'd like to see, some better stats. But this is a guy that, again, didn't start the entire year, missed a lot of games due to injury. I think he started the 3rd or 4th game. I can't remember how many games he got before he got in. It was either 3 or 4, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I lean towards Dart personally. I think quarterback is obviously the hardest position to play in the sport, and he has had some really good performances against some really tough teams. So he's going to be my offensive rookie of the year. And you go with Tet, which I assume is from a consistent basis, where he's just probably
just
been the
consistent.
most. Yeah, I get it. That was really close to being mine. I think he's
Played
had
every
a couple.
game.
Yeah, I think he's had a couple performances over the past few weeks that has slayed me away. But again, Jackson Dart did the same thing. But I think it's just because he plays quarterback. I'm kind of buying into the narrative of these quarterback heavy
What's
awards.
wrong with the voting awards?
You know what's actually wrong with the voting awards, and who I actually dead ass wanted to put as my offensive rookie of the year. You think you could guess? He's been the best offensive rookie this year, and he's not a quarterback. He's not a receiver. He's not even a running back.
Oh, you're talking about Membu?
Yep, the guy that should be a Las Vegas Raider, Armand Membu. 100%. If there was ever a year to give it to an offensive lineman, this is it. And he should get it. I mean, he's been an all-pro level tackle as a rookie. Give it to him. But, we can't do that. But Jaden goes Tet. I go Jackson on the
He's got to get his name out there more, get a couple receiving touchdowns.
Out there looking like Cody Ford, man. For defensive rookie of the year, another one we may differ. Actually, I want to start with you because I want to see if you go with the homer. Who was your defensive rookie of the year?
I went with Carson Schlesinger.
Okay. I was going to say. I think if you would have went with JPJ, I think that would have been the wrong pick, and I would have been a little upset because Carson has been incredible.
I didn't, so why we got to go through all that?
I'm just saying.
I do think he is now.
I'm just saying because I was like, I was hoping you didn't because I'm like, that's when I would firmly disagree.
I was thinking about going Xavier Watts, if you want me to be honest.
No way.
5 interceptions.
No, the Falcons rookies have been amazing, but none better than the man over there in Cleveland, Carson Schlesinger. I mean, this guy going downhill is one of the best linebackers in the league, whether that's rushing the passer, whether that's coming down to fill lanes on a run. I mean, this guy, he looks like a veteran. He looks like an 8-year veteran in this league as a rookie. And I can't believe the Browns just keep on doing it. They keep on drafting these studs on defense. I mean, how do they do it? Myles Garrett. I mean, you look at Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, J.O.K., Schlesinger. I mean, they just have hit after hit. These guys don't miss on defense. Now, on the opposite side, they miss a lot. But on the defensive side of the ball, these guys do not miss at all. Carson Schlesinger, unanimous defensive rookie of the year, a guy that really came out of nowhere. And, I mean, is an absolute baller. I mean, a legitimate all-pro candidate. All-pro, I don't think first team, but, he can get some second-team votes in there for sure. The guy has been an absolute stud, which you actually see quite common. You actually see all-pro rookie linebackers in the league. Like, I guess you could say over the past, 10 years.
Selected to the Pro Bowl?
If he wasn't, that would be a robbery.
I don't think he was.
I mean, to be fair, though, I don't care about that
It's
at all.
two It's two for each.
Because didn't Roquan make the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, please get the fuck out of here. I mean, he's not even remotely close players this year. Roquan obviously had been great the past few years. Roquan has absolutely been terrible this year. I think any Raven fan would tell you that. I don't even pay that no mind. And I saw this. I want to say if I still have this saved. Do you know the 4 teams with the most Pro Bowlers this year? Do you think you could name them?
Isn't the Ravens one of them?
Ravens is one. Do you think you could name
the other 3?
It's 6 players on each of these 4 teams. Do you think you could name the 6 Raven Pro Bowlers? One of them I know you could not. One of them I know you cannot, so I'm gonna give it to you. Jordan Stout. I don't think you were pulling that one, but yeah, Roquan is one.
Roquan, Hamilton,
Yep.
Zay Flowers.
Yep.
Um,
Got an offensive lineman.
Linderbaum.
Yep. And the other guy is basically
Patrick Ricard.
Yep. I was going to say basically also an offensive lineman. All right, 3 more teams.
Come on, bro. Too much thinking, bro.
It's the
Just got off a 9-hour shift.
Broncos, Niners, Seahawks were the other teams. These were the 4 teams.
I would have guessed Niners. I was
that
thinking
received
about the Niners.
6 Pro Bowlers this year, rightfully so. Some of the best teams in the league. But anyway, like I mentioned, unanimous Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schwessinger. We now move to...
You know who leads the league in passing attempts?
Leads the league in passing attempts.
You got to take a guess.
Oh, man. All right, let's do it. I'm going to assume it's not Stafford because I don't think you would just be like, oh, yeah, I guess, and it's my MVP.
It's Matthew Stafford.
Is it really?
I'm joking, no.
I was going to say. Leads the league in passing attempts. I feel like I should know this. Who has threw the hell out of the football? Oh, my gosh. This is killing me. I want to move through division because I really want to get this. It's no one from the AFC. It might be Bo. I'm going to keep Bo in the back pocket. I don't think it's him, though.
It's Bo next week, yes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And the reason why I thought of that, because I'm like, I remember him having like a couple really, really high pass attempt games. So I'm like, I'm going to keep him in the back pocket. But I'm like, I don't know because, yeah. But
I guess he's tied with Dak. I didn't realize that. He's tied at 589 on the dot.
Both going to crack.
With about, this is going to sound unbelievable, 700 less passing yards.
Yeah, it's ugly stuff. You know what's curious? How low is Sam Darnold on pass attempts? Is he in the top 10? No way, right?
Passing attempts. He's
probably
15.
Like, yeah, I was going to say he's probably like in the mid-teens.
He's right there with one more than Geno, future of the Raiders, Smith.
Geno, blame it on me, Smith. Dude, that's my favorite comment on every single comment section when it'll be like, this is low-key Geno Smith's fault. I mean, it's a fair point.
Oh, wait, no. He has 3 more than Geno Smith. 1 more completion than Geno Smith, though. My bad.
Not bad. Anyway, our coach of the year. I'll start out with mine because I think we differ here. My coach of the year is Kyle Shanahan. The 49ers right now are fighting for the 1 seed in the NFC. They have scored 37-plus points in 4 out of their last 6 games. And here are their notable injuries. Actually, I'll start out with this. If I were to have asked anybody, right, name, 5 or just name the top 10 players on the 49ers going into this year. These 5 players would have been on everybody's list. Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. Brock Purdy has missed 8 games this year. Nick Bosa is going to miss 14 games in the entire season because he tore his ACL. Fred Warner is going to miss 11 games. George Kittle has missed 6 games. And Brandon Ayuk has missed the entire season. That is 5 of their undoubtedly top 10 players on their team that have all missed at least 6 or more games, with a majority of them missing more than 10 games. And this team is 12-4 and might get a first-round bye. I mean, I got to give a round of applause for Kyle Shanahan for what he's done with this team.
Also their first-round pick. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. Right. I think he's only played 8 games.
He's played 5, no?
No, I think he's played a little bit more than that. I think he's played 8 or 9. Because I think he's on IR right now, but I don't remember if it's
9, yeah. He's played 9 games.
Yeah, 8
so
or 9.
He's missed.
But the only reason I didn't mention him was because, one, he hasn't been like out of this world great this year. He's been like okay.
Still a first-round pick. Like you expect him to contribute.
Right. No, I get you. But, yeah, Kyle Shanahan, it's my pick. There's a lot of great candidates, which this is one of the most stacked Coach of the Year races we've ever had. When you look at Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Mike Vrabel, I mean, the list can really go on and on. There's like 5 or 6 guys that should get this award. But when you look at the circumstances that the Niners have had to deal with and the fact that they might get a first-round bye and the fact that the NFC might fully go through them, I mean, if they make the Super Bowl, they're hosting that too. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff. So who do you have for your Coach of the Year? I'm interested to see who this is.
I told you.
Oh, we
said it. I said no, we don't. It's Shanahan.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know if you were gonna go with that. That's yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, 100% with how much they've dealt with. Man, I thought. I don't really know. If I had to guess, if I was confident that I didn't think we were going to share, I don't even know who you would have went. Who do you think would be second in your opinion?
Mike McDonald.
It's a good one. I think I'd go.
Especially if they win next week, secure the first seed.
I think I'd go Liam 2 for me. Mike 3. Or I guess I say Mike McDonald 3. Ben Johnson 4, Mike Vrabel 5, which feels wrong because Mike Vrabel is amazing. Snub? Man, that guy's going to be out of a job next year. Anywho, but yeah, we share another award, Coach of the Year, which I really didn't think we were, but we do here. Which again, it's tough to differ because there's not too many, super crazy.
Sirianni's one of those guys where it's just I always wonder, what the hell does he do? It's him.
Oh my gosh!
And people might be mad at this, for our 500 viewers. Why am I blanking on his name right now? What the fuck? This is horrible. Why am I blanking on his name?
What's the name?
Hold on. I'm not gonna tell you. Hold on. I'm not. Why am I blanking? Dan Campbell.
Oh, Dan Campbell. You know what?
Other than hype his team up, what is his philosophy? What scheme does he bring to a team?
I think
he's a defensive guy, obviously, but
I also think I back him a little bit because he's definitely a better coach than Sirianni.
100%. I think so too. But from a schematic standpoint, I don't, you know what I mean?
The only reason I would give him a little bit of leeway,
he's gutsy, but that's, I don't know.
The only reason I would give him a little bit of leeway is because I think midway through this season, now obviously their season has not gone according to plan, but a lot of that has to do with their defense, is he took over offensive play calling duties, and it felt like their offense didn't change or take that much of a dip, and they've had a lot of high scoring games. So I think I can respect him from that point. But then again, you look back at Nick Sirianni, where I think it was 2 years ago where he took over as the offensive play caller, and they obviously had that 10-0, 11-0 start, and then lost every single game after that.
It's easier to take over and do better.
Yeah,
and then it is to start the season as the play caller.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Eagles fans. Actually, I'm not going to say that because Eagles fans love everything with the Eagles. They're going to tell you Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. So they're going to love anything. But from everything that I'm seeing, I don't even think Eagles fans.
Ooh, Jalen Hurts at plus 50,000 odds to win MVP.
Yeah, I'll take a little bet on there. You know what's crazy, bro? And again, we're talking about odds here. Jackson Dart is plus 2,000 to win Rookie of the Year. That's nuts. I don't.
Plus 14.
1,400. Yeah, I don't. It's crazy. The odds are crazy. I think Tet probably will win it, but I think the odds are just wild. I don't know. I don't really agree with it, but
Shedeur Sanders snubbed.
Yeah, it's a good point. I just pulled a freaking nasty $70 Shedeur Sanders card that I'm about to sell.
I told you better sell that shit tomorrow.
No, I might hold on to it. You know what I'm so pissed about? I have opened a ton of boxes of NFL cards. I told myself I was going to chill out and probably just do like one box a month. And every single time I go out there and I spend $50 more on these boxes, I have never pulled a card worth grading. I've pulled some pretty solid cards, like some solid, rookies, this and that. Every single card I get, the corners are not really great. It's not centered. Like, I just want to pull a card that I can grade, and I can't. I just keep on pulling these cards where the right side is so thick and the left side is super skinny. Like, if you're into cards, you know what I'm talking about, but it's so frustrating. I want to grade a card. I want to try to get a PSA 10, and I just simply can't do it. I don't know. Maybe I got to freaking order off eBay and hope I get blessed with a good centered card, but I'm pissed at that, dude. Even though the Shador Sanders card, like I said, hit a case hit, $70 card, bro. I'm hyped for that, but anyway. We got 3 more awards to get to, so let's get straight into it. We have the Protector of the Year, a new award here, and I know that we both have the same on this, and it's Penei Sewell. I mean, the best tackle in football.
Yeah.
It's not really much of a debate. I don't think, even though the Lions aren't going to make the playoffs, I don't think this is a award that's going to matter for that. This is an odd award. It's a much needed award, but I think, excuse me, I think it's going to be an award that's really just a popularity contest, which sucks. I didn't want
That's
that.
the thing.
To
We
be
don't
this
know.
award.
This is the first year they're doing it. We don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's like the easy thing to say is that's how they're going to do it, but who knows?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I guess it really is tough to be like, oh, yeah, this tackle that no one's really familiar with is going to win it. Like, most of the time it is probably just going to be the better players, like the players with the name cachet, so it makes sense. But, I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, Penei Sewell is the best tackle in football, and he's still been amazing this year. So it's not like a handout award type thing, but I'm just curious to see how this award works going forward. Like, is Penei Sewell going to end his career with fucking 10 of these awards? Like, I don't know. But he earns the first one. First one in NFL history goes to Penei Sewell. Next is Comeback Player of the Year, which, again, I think we both share this one. It is CMC for my vote. Is that who you got as well?
I had Phillip Rivers.
No, come on, dude. Come on.
No, I was actually serious.
You got Phillip winning this award.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, CFC.
Yeah, it's an easy one. I mean, it's a guy that's, when he's healthy, a walking 2,000 yards from scrimmage, a walking 20 touchdowns. The guy is he's an entire offense by himself, coming off a major injury, which I think that's so crazy. I was looking at this since 2019. He has had, I think, only 4 or 3 healthy seasons. So in no clip farm, but I think 6 or 7 years, he's only had 3 or 4 healthy years. And every single one of those years, he's had, I think, 2,003 of those years, 1,800 in the other year, and he's had, I think, 13 or more touchdowns in each of those years. Like, when he's healthy, I mean, the dude's a Hall of Fame player on the field. But it's just, can he stay on the field? I mean, the guy legitimately, I don't think he's going to get this because 110 receiving yards in a game is just tough to do. I don't think he's going to be an 1,000 player this year, but I mean, the dude is unreal. Unreal. Like I said, he's an entire offense by himself as long as he's healthy. Literally is basically that entire 49ers offense, and a big reason to why Kyle Shanahan won our Coach of the Year. So
you think he has a chance to break the most touches in a season?
That's a good point, because I was just looking at that, and I think he's 1 away from 400, right? He's at 399.
Yeah.
What is the most? No
I'm
way.
just pulling your leg. No way he's done.
I was going to
say.
Bro,
the most is James Wilder had 492.
I thought it was going to be Eddie George, because I know didn't he have a crazy stretch where he was like 450 every single year for like a bunch of years straight? I think
he's at 3 on here. I'm sure he's got a lot up in here, but
yeah.
Yeah, James Wilder had almost 500 touches.
That's nuts, bro. That's fucking nuts. Fun fact about James Wilder, the only fun fact I know is he's the leading rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all time. That's all I know about him. So,
Shit, I'd hope so.
yeah, but 500 touches, yeah, that makes sense. But
407 carries and 1,500 yards in a season.
what is that on a yard? What was his yards per carry?
It's 3.8. It's not too far off from CMC, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. But CMC doesn't even have close to that many carries though. Right?
No.
CMC's at 310?
Right? 303.
Oh, 303.
Yeah, he's got about 100 more carries than him right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's nuts, bro. Yeah, no way he touches that. I don't even know.
Dude also had 85 catches that season, too.
That's so nuts. I don't even think that might be an unbreakable record. I'm going to be honest with you.
100%.
Because, like, CMC is having, like, an unreal volume season, and he's not even really close. Like, yeah, that is 1,000%.
I mean, 492 divided by 15, quick maths. I couldn't tell you what that is, but that's close to 30 carries per game, touches per game.
Yeah. I mean, with the 17 game, obviously you get the extra game, but again, you would have to stay healthy. You would have to be a pass catching back. You're not going to get a Derrick Henry.
Basically 29 touches at least every game.
Yeah, that's 100% not possible. Unless, do they count punt and kick returns as touches? Right?
How many of those are you going to get in a game, though?
Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, unless you, like, are truly a do-it-all player and, like, because that adds up. You do 5 times 17, or even, like, you take a safe route, like a 3 or 4 times 17. Like, that shit adds up. Like, that would be the only plausible way. But, again, you're not putting your best player on offense out there. Like, that just makes no sense. So, yeah, that is 100% an unbreakable record. We got a few of those out in the league, but, yeah, that one is definitely one. And our final award that we are getting to is Game of the Year. This one, I do believe we are finally going to differ. What is your Game of the Year for the 2025 NFL season?
When you first mentioned the awards thing, I didn't wait. When did you mention this? Because there was a couple weeks ago on a podcast or before it, where this got brought up, or this topic, and you were like, no, let's not do Game of the Year, or something like that. Or maybe it was the superlatives.
Yeah, it was superlatives, because I was
But my game still hasn't changed from that, when I first thought about that.
And what is that?
And it was Ravens-Bills week 1.
God damn, we just are on the same wavelength with everything. I wanted to differ. And I was so close to going with the obvious big one of the Seahawks-Rams from a few weeks ago. But, man, this Ravens-Bills game just hit. It just had everything.
Back when Lamar was a good player.
Yeah, back when he was, I mean, the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, it really had everything. The Ravens looked like a show-stopping offense, looked like one of the best offenses you'd ever seen on football. I mean, they were just gutting the Bills like nothing. Lamar Jackson made one of the best plays I think I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes when he ran 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then ran forward for another 30. Derrick Henry had multiple big runs. And then the ending happens where Henry fumbles. The Ravens don't go for it on the 4th down. You have the tip pass that leads to a touchdown. Like the 2-point conversion. Like, it was just so much crazy things happened that game. The Bills fans leaving early, and then they have one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history. I mean, just some unreal stuff from that game. And there were so many, bro. This is literally like Coach of the Year, where it's like, bro, there was like 7 options that we could have chose from. I mean, the Bears-Niners game from 2 days ago, or from yesterday, I mean, it just so many. The Seahawks-Rams, as I mentioned. You could even bring up the Broncos comeback against the Giants, where they scored, 19 points in the 4th quarter. I mean, just literally loads and loads of games that we could have chose from. But this Bills-Ravens game, I mean, really just had everything you could ask for. And it was the opening Sunday night game of week 1. I mean, it was a primetime game. I think that is what makes it better. Like there's some 1 p.m., 10 a.m. games that we can think of that were pretty good, but when the game's on primetime, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's hard to not choose a primetime game. Everybody's watching it. Everybody's got their eyes glued on it. And for the most part this year, it felt like a lot of primetime games hit. Like I know a few years ago when we were like, man, every single Thursday night game blows. Monday night's pretty mid. Like Sunday night is cool. But man, I mean, they deliver this year. I can't tell you off the top of my head, like, oh, those were for sure stinkers. I mean, my Raiders Broncos were pretty damn bad. But outside of that, I mean, we just had banger after banger after banger. And I mean, shout out to Jaden's Falcons, because they had a couple games in there that you could put up here for potential game of the years. Falcons going 4-1 in those games. But yeah, Ravens Bills take the cake.
Another reason why Bijan is offensive player of the year.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But yeah, Ravens Bills take the cake for our game of the year. And yeah, that's all of our awards, everything that we got into. Let us know what you guys agree with, disagree with down below. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us, man. This is our final Monday night recording. I finally won't have to stay up till 1 a.m. doing these things and downloading and uploading these videos right after work. I'll be able to, chill on a Sunday night. Start recording maybe 7-ish o'clock, get to bed on time. But anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed. As always, if you're new, make sure to leave a subscribe, make sure to leave a like, make sure to rate us 5 stars, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.